I say that? Yeah. My name is Tanya. I'm a UX researcher based in New York City. I work at Peloton, and I completed the UX certificate program at CareerFoundry. So I was living in San Francisco at the time. It was around 2018. It was during like the golden era of tech there. I started learning about UX through conversations of people that worked in tech. I wasn't in tech yet, I was in healthcare, but it started coming up, and then I personally got interested in creating a website one day, and then I realized I don't know anything about that. So I also came across the topic of UX through that, just on my own research. And then through figuring out what my next step was, I ended up looking at different programs that were for design and in UX, and I came across CareerFoundry. So it was during the course, actually. I was set on becoming a designer at first, but then I realized I didn't quite have the patience for design or the eye, really. Maybe I could have developed it, I don't know. But in the course, they gave you a pretty decent exposure of UX research, and I immediately knew that just like clicked for me, and it was something I really wanted to learn more about. And I found myself just like talking more about the research than the actual like design aspect of the projects I was doing. So yeah, I discovered it through CareerFoundry. So my background was I was a bench like research scientist in a lab with cells, like pipetting, things like that, for a few years, and I wanted to let that go, honestly. I just like was so over it. But then once I started the certificate program, I realized like I still have the mind of a researcher, and I just naturally am curious. I have lots of questions, and I really enjoy talking to people. So it was like the perfect overlap of different things that I really enjoy. To be honest, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So after finishing grad school, I went into clinical research, and I worked at a hospital doing that, and it was great, but quickly realized it was just gonna be for the short term for me. And then I was trying to figure out what else I wanted to do. So I was maybe entertaining going to a health profession school, or even took the yoga teacher training certificate as well. Maybe that would stick, but none of those did, and I was just even more motivated to figure out what I wanted to do. So I was looking for definitely financial stability. I was living in San Francisco at the time, so it was quite expensive, and I just was really wanting to find a career that allowed me to be creative, even though I wasn't like on paper a creative person, but I just wanted to be able to have the ability to like have ownership over the direction of the thing I wanted to do. And so with research, it was just a natural fit where I could be creative with my research plans and with my research in general. So it happened after I finished the program with CareerFoundry. I found myself just even going through interviews, realizing I keep talking about the research. I keep going back to that because that's obviously where my skill set strength really lies. So I just pivoted, and about like 2 months into my job search. And once I pivoted, it was like everything kind of like fell into place, and I reworked my resume to reflect that. I was even more excited to talk about that and go through those interviews. And I also used the guidance of the tutor that I was assigned to, and just talking to others within the program. So it was kind of a lot of different things, but it was definitely a couple months after I had finished the program. I think as a designer, you have to be really flexible. I really give them so much credit with like all the feedback that they have to take in and how many different people they have to consider within like stakeholders and also users. So I definitely think that's key. And then a couple others would probably be to think about always keep in mind who you're designing for and why we're doing things. I think that's my third piece of advice, is asking the why. I think most designers tend to gravitate towards that too. And if you don't have the bandwidth to be able to do that on your own, then lean on somebody like a researcher to do that for you. But even if it's just, you don't have the chance to a lot of time, I think, to dedicate to a specific research project to help influence your design, I think even just consulting with somebody related to UX research will be really helpful and help you maybe gain more confidence in your design decisions. I did a lot of research on different programs. I'm a UX researcher, so I guess that makes sense. But I was looking at a lot of different options, and I came across CareerFoundry on just a web search, to be honest. But then I really started to narrow it down to CareerFoundry when I realized like how transparent they were about their offerings. It wasn't like very vague and, oh, you're gonna pay, a ton of money for possibly a job. It was, this is what we will teach you, this is what you'll get out of it, and this is how much it costs. So it was just the transparency really hooked me, I think. No, but I did do the intro, like the free intro, that's like 2 or 3 weeks just to like try it out. And I think that was a really great segue into being certain that I wanted to go down that route. So I thought that was really cool for them to offer. I would say comprehensive. Is that lame?
That's
no?
cool.
Okay. No, but I really think it's comprehensive just because it gives you so many different angles of UX, not just design, not just, obviously that's how I discovered research. So I think it just gives you a really nice sampling of all sorts of aspects of UX and really in depth too.
Just cut there for a second.
Yeah.
The hope was just like a few ominously open.
So I had actually quit my job to do the program, so I dedicated a lot of time. I basically worked at like a 9-to-5 job. I would do all of my assignments and then study the content that they had for us, but then beyond that I would then start to figure out what else is there that I can learn outside of this, because there's a lot of resources that CareerFoundry provides, so you could basically spend hours just like learning more beyond what they offer within the portal. So yeah, I basically treated it as that, and then around 5 or so is when a lot of the meetups started happening in San Francisco at the time. So after I'd finish, wrap a day like studying and working on my assignments, I would then go and like network for a couple hours about 2-3 times a week. So that's basically what my day looked like. I'm very much a visual learner, so I did a lot of like Post-its. I remember I covered a whole wall and made it into a whiteboard. So I had that like whiteboard paper, and I did a lot of the diagramming, lots of markers, lots of like flows, things where it's lots of scratch paper, lots of reading as well. But that's mainly how I ended up studying for that, and talking out loud to myself also, walking myself through like what I was designing and why, and things like that. That was really helpful. I thought it was great. I really like working at my own pace. I do like some structure, but it just gave the right amount, I think, where I could deviate from that and maybe go back to previous assignments and like go more in depth into those. But I thought the remote setting was like really nice, and also this was before the pandemic when I did it, so it was still pretty new, and I had to get used to like being by myself, But then also we had our awesome Slack channel, so you could like chit chat with other people that were in similar boats. So it worked really well for me, I would say. And I thought it was like very flexible because you could do it anywhere. It was really great. I actually knew one person who actually referred me. They were about to finish their program, so I kind of overlapped with them. And then in general, everyone was just like really nice, and we connected through LinkedIn. I even met a couple people when I was living in San Francisco in person that were doing it as well. So it was good. It was very supportive. It was good. With my mentor, I made an effort to meet with them like once or twice a month, and my tutor was really, I feel, invested in my work and like gave really thorough feedback, which I really appreciated. I only talked to them through the chat and through messaging, but overall they were very supportive, and I was really impressed with how detailed feedback they provided and thoughtful too, and also gave me advice on like how to go beyond just the assignment, what else I could add to this that would elevate it. With my mentor, I thought she had really extensive experience as a designer, so it was really great. We actually spent less time focused on the assignment and like more talking about like her day-to-day, what it was like to be as a designer, what she was working on, and then that would carry over to like how could I further enhance what I was working on. So yeah, it was really great. It was like having a friend, honestly, that cared about your career. So. I think it was key because it helped me get comfortable to receive feedback and also talking to somebody about being a designer, because you don't really have anyone else to talk about it with until you start putting yourself out there. So this felt like the first step, like, okay, I'm talking to a very seasoned designer and a seasoned tutor, and they're equipping me with good advice and feedback and direction. I felt more comfortable going outside of that bubble and talking to other people because I had the experience of like what they had shared with me, what I had learned from them, and then taking that with me and carrying that over to conversations with other product people. So yeah, it was really helpful. I mean, I found something I really love to do, so I think that's like, I definitely felt like I won big with that. I feel like I have found a career that is really, it's very fulfilling. I get to talk to all sorts of users and learn from them, advocate for them. That's like the biggest highlight for me, and I think it's great. I felt very accomplished. I couldn't believe how much I had learned in such a short amount of time. I'd never done anything like that before, where it was a career switch like that to something totally different than I had done before. So I felt very proud of myself and ready to start the job search. I felt really confident in what I knew and what I could do. So yeah. Honestly, I'm so lame. I think I just started sending job applications right away. And then I did take a trip back home as like, okay, I finished. Before I start a new job, I was very motivated. So I was like, I'm gonna find a job. I'm gonna take a quick trip home, spend some time not doing anything related to this, take some time off, and then I'll get back to work 2 weeks later. So that's what I did. I found it very intense. It was a lot of hard work, but I felt really confident in what I knew and what I wanted to do. So I just really thought, okay, I'm gonna go for it, apply to as many jobs as I possibly can. I also knew I had the opportunity to lean on the money back guarantee that you guys offer. So I I was gonna take advantage of being able to find a job as soon as I could. But yeah, it has its highs and lows. Not every day was I as motivated as the previous day or whatever, but overall it's like finding a job. It's hard, but you do it, so. So I really relied on them just to keep me motivated and not give up, and find ways to like really make my resume stand out. Really asking them, you know, when I get asked this question, what could I speak to, or what should I possibly think about when I'm shaping my answers. So just as much as advice as I could get from them, and it was really helpful overall. Yeah, I thought, what if I don't end up making a career change and it doesn't work out for me, and then I spent all this time and nothing happened. So that was like 10% on my mind, but the rest I was very confident in that it would just work out for me. So number one, apply to as many jobs as you possibly can, even those that you're not excited about. Two, I would say practice as much as you possibly can with your friends, with your partner, with whomever. Really get those answers like really nice and tight. And third, I would say that don't lose hope. It will be okay. Try to just push through it. Honestly, I cried, I think. I felt so relieved. I think that's the first thing that comes to mind, and just really excited about what was next for me. I went out to lunch and treated myself to it, and because it was in the middle of the day when I found out. So I took the afternoon off. I quit applying to jobs. I just took a break and celebrated myself, and it was great, yeah. I texted my mom and my sister and my dad, so all three of them I sent the same text in Spitfire. And I was also really excited about that job because it was a contract role at Google, so it was a big deal for me at the time that was going to be my first job as a UX researcher, so I was super excited. I think that's okay to have reservations and like reasons for being hesitant, and then the next step is figuring out why, and is it like a real reason to be hesitant about it. If it's because you're worried or scared, I think that's normal, but that should probably give you even more motivation to just like go in and go for it. I think just feeling very fulfilled about what I'm doing and really enjoying going to work every day. I hadn't really experienced that before, and particularly where I work now, I just love the area that I'm working in, and the people that we're designing for and developing things for. I keep them on my mind all the time, so having a good reason to go to work and do like the best work I can do is important to me. I mean, I make a lot more money now, which is really nice. Can I say that? Yeah, I mean, that's been very life-changing. Finding financial independence for myself has been really rewarding. Being able to help my family too when they need help, and feeling just very proud all the time about what I'm doing. It's amazing. I can only speak for myself, but I used to be a swimmer for over 10 years and then a researcher, and it's just like the perfect place for me. It was one of the jobs that I would have deemed like a dream job when I was looking for a job, and I thought it would be amazing to work there one day, and they say manifesting sometimes works, and I guess it did work for me, so yeah, it's awesome. I love it. I was a member of part of like the Peloton members before, and I think having like more of a behind the scenes role now gives me such an appreciation for our members. We do everything for them and with them in mind, and I feel really lucky to be part of that, and I'm enjoying it, so yeah. So I thought about that you might ask me this question, and honestly right now I'm just enjoying my role so much that I just want to sit still, enjoy it, take it in, really get good at being a UX researcher, honing in those skills that are really important to me, like conducting good research and also my presentation skills, because I really want to have my research have a lasting impact. That's all I can tell you for now, but right now I'm gonna sit still and enjoy it. I think if you're really excited about it, that just means that you're gonna be very motivated to do everything you possibly can to like do that career change. And if you have those reasons, then yes, absolutely. But keep in mind that you're really gonna have to work really incredibly hard on your program and beyond that, because you really need to put yourself out there to get it done.